Kepis, Hennka.
Well, cheers, man. Keep this. What's going on?
Oh, just hanging around mid-afternoon, waiting for a certain Finnish guy to call. You know how it be. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, exactly. I'm good. I'm good. Just doing interviews, yeah.
Just doing interviews from the comfort and safety of your boudoir?
Yeah, exactly, from our bedroom, because that's the only even moderately quiet place in our house.
And probably the most comfortable, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
So, I wonder what you're doing interviews about. Hey, wouldn't have anything to do with this new Acoustic Adventures album that you got coming out, would it?
Yes, pretty much. That's all we've been talking about so far. Yeah.
It's a lot to talk about. It's an appropriate name for a lot of reasons, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also, I mean, it's not just the album, it's the whole concept, because it's like when we play shows, it's also under the same slogan, Acoustic Adventures, just to make sure that people don't confuse it and expect something else. And that still happened. We have been getting feedback that people come to the show and then they say, like, what is this, you know? And then you go, well, it says it right there on the title. It's acoustic, you know. But people start to pick up on it. It's a not so subtle hint. So,
well, when you have acoustic in the title, it kind of gives it away, doesn't it?
One should hope so. Yeah.
One should hope.
We're trying to make it abundantly clear, yeah.
Just have it stamped on people's foreheads as they walk in. Acoustic.
Yeah, something acoustic. Like that. Yeah, exactly.
In terms of the concept itself, you did some acoustic shows in 2016, then again in 2019, and that's been continuing this year. Whose idea was it to be like, let's try some acoustic versions of songs?
Well, that was something that started like way earlier. It's been, I think, even before I joined the band, so that would be like 20 years ago or something. It's quite normal that sometimes, you know, like if two of the guys go and do promotion, then they ask you, can you sing a song or something like that? And then you do it acoustically because that's easier. Then at some point, I think about 10 years ago, we incorporated like so many bands do that you play 2 or 3 songs acoustically in the middle of the set. But then, like you said, in 2016 was the first time we actually played full sets of acoustic stuff. And that came about, we were thinking about what can we do for the summer festivals that would be different, because we were doing a third summer with the same album or within the same album cycle, and to go out for the third time with the same bunch of songs or just change a few didn't really feel, I mean, it felt like it felt stupid. So I thought about it, and I talked with Tony about it and said, look, what if we try to do acoustic shows? And he was like, yeah, that's so stupid, it might work. So we tried it, and it did work. That was, of course, that time we more or less just threw a set list together and just played the songs, and didn't really spend too much time arranging them or thinking it through. It was just more about just going and doing it. And then in 2019, we actually started to think, okay, we have to do something different and actually think about it and plan it and arrange the songs and not just go out and you know, just change the instrument and play them the same way. So from that moment, I mean, when we did the last tour about 2 years ago, people started, of course, asking, you know, when I'm going to do an album, and now with all this COVID shit going on, so you can't tour that much or at all sometimes, then we decided to go into the studio and record the acoustic stuff. And the original plan was to actually go into the studio now in January. Or was it last year? I mean, my idea was that we would fly to LA and record in my friend's studio. That didn't happen because everything else started to fall apart before that. But that was something we wanted to do, like go out on an adventure and record somewhere else than in Finland. And with a thing like this, that you have the songs ready and most of the arrangements worked out beforehand, that would have been doable, actually. But we couldn't, so we went into our bass player Pasi's studio like before and just started to record. And
went on a little acoustic adventure, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. And we did actually record 2 albums at the same time.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah, so we did about, I think, 24, 25 songs. We did it in a way that the 4 of us played together. Tony wasn't actually even there, and so we played together, recorded live together, and without a click track as well. So so some songs we had to do quite a few takes to get it right. But it was interesting. It was a challenge. It was something different, that's for sure.
And ultimately something beautiful. Like I'm a musician as well, and I could tell that, like, in a good way, I could tell that there wasn't a metronome or something like that. There were the songs sped up, they slowed down. It was extremely natural sounding, and like the compositions, they really took on a different feel. Like they went from being like, you know, the traditional kind of Sonata Arctica power metal kind of thing to something that, to me anyway, sounded more like in the vein of like maybe even Pink Floyd or John Lord.
Deep Purple.
That's the one. And I thought, well, this makes a lot of sense, because I know that you're huge on him, and I could hear a lot of that influence on some of the tracks where you're playing organ and stuff like that. And your organ solos would just, this is buttery goodness right here. Yeah, like...
well, thank you very much.
Yeah, you bet. Was it kind of, when you went to arrange the songs, was it difficult to think about them in this new context? Because they do sound like, it's undoubted the songs are the songs, but they're very different. It almost sounds like a completely different band.
I think, well, when we started to make these albums, we just took like the touring set list and started with the songs from there that we thought worked really well. So we basically had a bunch of songs with arrangement that we already tested live. So you know, of course we changed some things, but still basically, so we had a good starting point in the sense that we didn't have to start from scratch. But then when we started to work on the rest of the things, we tried and played, and we had our producer Mikko Tegelman with us in the studio, and I think that was really, really important, because he had a chance to just, you know, listen, as opposed to when we try to play something, you have to focus on playing it right and listening to your bandmates and stuff. But he could sit back and listen, and he made very good suggestions regarding tempos and also instrumentation, and especially with the keyboards, you know, this is too much here, or this is too little there, and same with guitars as well. So I think having an extra pair of ears was really the key to making this work.
Definitely, like in a context where you're playing everything live, it's like capturing lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, exactly. And then also the thing was like, you play a version and go like, yeah, this was great, and then you hear from the talkback, it was like, nope, guys, this was not great, do it again. You know, so because what you feel internally and what actually goes on tape, that they might be different things. And sometimes you go like, that was pure shit, and say, no, this was exactly how it should be. So I think that was one of the main points, how we managed to like get this kind of end result, was having a producer.
Yeah, especially I guess one that knows the songs very well and knows what you guys are about.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's been doing our front of house for, I don't know, 10 years maybe or something. And so yeah, he knows what we can and what we cannot do.
And what you want to actually, he would have an idea of what you wanted to accomplish as well, which, you know, that's invaluable in the studio.
Yeah, I think so, absolutely. And we did talk a lot about what we're trying to do, you know, just to make sure that everybody was on the same page, and especially, as said, you know, when we record everything live, everybody has to be right there on the spot and focused and things like that. So it was a new kind of challenge, you know, like when we record albums, even sometimes we play the basic tracks together, but still you can, if you mess up or something, you just play it again. It's not a big deal, but when you want to capture everything at once, then it's a bit more tricky.
Definitely. And the results in this one speaks for itself. Like, quite frankly, it just sounds beautiful. I think I've said that before, but
thanks. Thank you.
It's look, I've been a fan of Sonata for a while, but hearing these songs in this context, I was truly taken aback in a positive way, and I think that will be the same reflection from anybody who hears these two albums moving forward. I don't think they're necessary. Anybody who hasn't heard these songs in this context before, they may not expect what they're going to receive, and it's going to be something new.
I hope so. I think like when you start doing acoustic stuff, it's really tricky, because it's really easy just to make a shit version of your songs, you know. So I mean, we really tried hard to make it actually something worth listening to.
And I hope you're aware. Like, look, I'm probably getting to the point now where it sounds like I'm blowing smoke up your ass, but you must be aware of what you've been able to achieve, right?
Well, I hope so. I mean, we think we have an idea, like what we set out to do, and we're very happy with the end result. And like now, this is the most nerve-wracking situation ever, because now it's just like with every album, you have to wait and see what people say, or if people are going to like it or not. Then that's like, especially now, it's been the albums have been done for, I think, about a year now. You just have to wait, and you have to wait, and you think you have something great on your hands, but you never know if people's going to, get it or not. So, yeah. But I think we managed to do what we set out to do, and I think the end results are also like we were a bit surprised how good it turned out.
Do you think it might have any bearing on how you may construct songs in the future?
I don't know. I mean, it would be. I mean, I have to admit, I think, of course, that doing this in the way that we did it, it will have some effect of what happens next. That's for sure. But like in regard to how that will affect our future recordings or songwriting or arrangement, I have no idea, and that remains to be seen. And I think that's what is exciting about doing music. Like do something, you learn something, and then you move forward, and then you never know what's going to happen next. So, but I don't think it's going to be like a really huge change, but I'm not sure.
So I guess it's perhaps not really in the band's purview to, like, say, in a future album, for example, have another album of entirely new material in this style.
I don't know. I would consider it. Yeah, why not? But I don't know about the rest of the guys. That's of course something that has crossed my mind or has crossed our minds at some point. But I don't think that's what we're going to do. At least now, because we have about, I think, 10 albums out, so we got 120, 130 songs to choose from. So to write new material just in this vein, I don't know. It is a thought and it has occurred, but right now it's just a thought, and I don't see that happening. But never say never.
You did. It's a good philosophy. Well, yeah, the songs that were chosen for at least the first of these two albums, it goes through basically all of the albums. There's at least one song from everything, and sometimes two songs from
Stone Square Her Name.
There was a couple of songs from that, a couple of songs from another one. Was there a particular reason why the songs that were chosen were chosen? Yeah,
well, I mean, as I said, we started out with the songs that we've been playing loud before, but the idea was that we would take songs from every album and make sure that on both of these acoustic albums you're going to have songs from all of the albums. That was like the goal. And then started trying different songs, and some worked and some didn't, and it was more random than you would think.
Yeah.
So of course you have songs like Full Moon and Tallulah, for example, and I Have a Right, and maybe a few others. That was not something we had to discuss. That was sure that they have to be included. But for the rest, I mean, the first single, The Rest of the Sun Belongs to Me, it's a bonus track from Japan, back from Winter Hearts Guild in 2003. So yeah, I think the main idea was just get songs that works and sounds good, and that we can do something about.
Do you feel as though the songs have taken on an extended meaning, either musically or otherwise, in this new rearranged type of format?
Oh yeah, I think they feel totally different. I mean, some songs, of course, if you play, for example, Tallulah, which is a power ballad, and then you play it acoustically, I don't think the difference is that much, really. And the change is not drastic. It's more about sounds and less about arrangement. But the other songs, I mean, when you play a song acoustically, you can change, and for most part, I think we did change the whole feeling of the song. The whole mood is different. I think so, like musically at least. And then also, especially now, because on albums, a lot of times Tony does most of the backing vocals, but on this one we have me, Pasi, and Elias singing background vocals as well. And then with our voices singing backgrounds, it sounds different as well, and it feels different as well. But that's just universally speaking about all of the songs, and then if you want to be more particular about one single song or something, it gets trickier. But I think for the most part, the feeling of the songs, like the tempos, the keys, everything like that is different, and that changes the whole entire mood.
I wouldn't know if it's for the better, but definitely the variation especially from a listening point of view. It was stark. It was such a stark contrast, and again, such a beautiful one. And I don't really dish out these compliments very willingly. I'm usually quite reserved when it comes to, especially calling something beautiful. But that was going into listening to the album. I was a little bit like, I wonder how this is going to work. And from the first track onwards, I was just like, just completely blown away by how. I'm not too sure if this was the aim, but again, like there was a bit of a Pink Floyd vibe, a bit of a late 70s, early 80s, maybe even a contemporary bit. It was like sprinkled in with a bit of contemporary Opeth, and it's just sounded so vital. Is the word that I'm going to use. The song sounded so vital and so awake. Is that something that you would agree with? Yeah,
it's very easy to agree with. Yeah, that's I mean, the thing. Yeah, we wanted to perform the songs in a way that you could feel us being present there. That it's not like sometimes when you make heavy metal albums, it's everything has to go exactly to the beat, and it has to be, the vibe has to be like you have to crush and punch somebody in the face and stuff like that, And with this, we wanted it to feel like we are in the room with you, and we are actually there are real people playing this music together, flaws and all, and singing together, and kind of like when you say 70s, back then they were recording stuff live, and so we wanted to make sure that when you listen to the music, you feel that it gets as close as possible to the listener.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, it does sound more like a performance than it does a production, and that's very special.
Yeah, it was really a fine line, not to put too much or not to put too little stuff on there.
And yeah, you toed line brilliantly. I could keep gushing on for quite some time because, again, big fan and a surprised fan at what you guys have pulled off on Acoustic Adventures.
I'm happy to hear that somebody's pleasantly surprised. That's always good.
Very pleasantly surprised. The pleasure has been all on this side of the microphone, having a chat with you.
Yeah, it's been really nice talking to you. Thank you very much.
Oh, gee. Well, all
right.
At some point next year, I may be heading out to Finland anyway, so you never know.
Exactly. Well, good luck, and bring warm clothes if you're coming in the winter.
Yeah, so I've been told. Keep it.
Exactly. Yeah, keep it. Take care. Thanks, man.
Catch you, Hennka.
Goodbye.